Alright, now this may not apply to all of you watching, however, for myself, my magical practice is accompanied by my spiritual practices. And if you're new to the channel or you haven't noticed, my spiritual practices revolve around the gods and goddesses of ancient Greece, or more specifically, the religion of Hellenism. I've already shared a video outlining my daily prayer, which you could modify to your own liking, and I'll post a link to somewhere on the screen here. I also want to begin this by saying that I am not, nor do I consider myself a master or have any delusions of grandeur. I am making these videos to help those who are on a similar path to mine and sharing what has worked for me. Now in this video, I want to try to cover a couple different topics that I believe to be important. The first, how do you live a life in honor of the gods? When you're making an effort to connect to a divine power, but you live your life without regard to anyone but yourself, you're probably going to have a difficult time making that connection. Then second, what can you do to begin a magical practice alongside your spiritual practice? Now getting started, I know that Hellenism is not an organized religion with set rules and guidelines in place, and I am in no way saying that it needs to be. However, I do believe that one would benefit from adopting some form of guidelines to live by. But what would those look like, and why should you? These guides should aid your decision-making throughout your day-to-day life, and the purpose of this is simple. It does not matter how much you pray if you live your life impiously. It will be very difficult to build any type of relationship or connection to a God if you live this life stepping all over others in the pursuit of your worldly desires. I feel I need to also specify for this video that when I mention a god or goddess, I'm speaking of them in the Neoplatonic sense that the gods are all good and contain no evil. So what would these guides to life look like? Well, they will probably look differently for each person. However, I am going to share some rules that I make every attempt to incorporate within my own personal journey. So let's get started. Number one, the gods should come first in our thoughts and actions. The gods can and do show us goodwill, and it is by the maintenance of proper and traditional rituals as well as sacrifices that we form this connection to the gods. It is through this connection that the gods assist us throughout our lives by protecting our property, providing us with abundant food, preserving our health, and giving us numerous other blessings in response to our prayers. Even if we do not see these blessings initially, at some point within your life you will look back and see it. Trust me, there were many times where I felt that I had been abandoned and left alone, all to find myself where I am now. I can recall a time in my life that I had no running water and had to shower at a gym on my way home from work. Number two, we should strive to observe and celebrate the festivals of the gods as far as that is possible within our world. The reason that we do this is to attune ourselves to the cyclical powers of the universe and to link our own souls to the gods of our pantheon. This forms the foundation of our mystical union. Honestly, why would you follow a specific religion if you incorporated none of its practices? Number three, recognize that we owe the gods thanks for the blessings within our lives, and we can show our thanks by the maintenance of vows we take, as we should never allow our words to come back upon us void. We should not give our word or make any promises that we are unable to keep. We can also do this by giving thanks before we partake in meals and small things throughout our days. This also helps to make your religion much more personal. Number four, when someone does an act of kindness towards you, pay it forward to another. Likewise, if someone asks to repay you for an act of kindness, request that they make an effort to assist someone else in need instead, even if it requires them to go out of their way. Allow this to clear any debt to you. By doing this, even if most people do not continue it, we are able to touch the lives of others indirectly, and I think we can all agree that the world can use more positive influence. Number five, make every effort to be compassionate towards others, even when you feel they are not deserving. Strive to be aware of the hearts and minds of others you may encounter. People have off days, and oftentimes you may encounter someone on their absolute worst day. You never know what someone else has going on in their life. Number 6. Recognize that good comes from the gods, but bad things are normally the result of an error within our own part, or from our own actions. Lesser daemons are from one's own fate. It is easy to blame the gods, but much more difficult to take responsibility for your own actions. I once had someone join the Discord community and begin speaking ill of a certain goddess. They took offense when it was pointed out that perhaps the fault lied upon themselves. This did not go over well, as they had a very material view of the gods and believed them to all act as children. Number 7. It is more important to live this life well rather than preparing for any potential afterlife. I don't believe anything else needs to be said for this to be understood. After all, this is not Christianity. Number 8. Make every attempt to respect the rights of asylum and hospitality. Observe tradition and law within ritual matters and attendance of the deceased, and show loyalty to one's own country and family. Now, I'll be honest with this. When it comes to family, you have to set boundaries. You can love and respect a family member without allowing them around you if all they do is disrupt your life and balance. I have unfortunately not spoken to several members of my family as they do not agree with the choices that I've made within my life, and they are just toxic individuals. Number 9. Make every effort to refrain from committing impious acts. This includes disbelieving in the God's existence or neglecting their worship. To do so would lead to the elimination of the God's blessing within one's life, which would then leave one open to the whims of chance. And number 10. Refrain from associating with impious people. Recognize that impiety affects everyone and puts all at risk of incurring miasma or ritual impurity. This is one reason that I do not associate with certain family members. However, depending on your own life and what you do for a living, it may be impossible for you to not encounter these people, so you should perform purifications on a regular basis. Now, speaking of purifications, remember we previously discussed water as a cleansing agent, and I believe most people are familiar with the concept of a cleansing bath. But how can we improve on this? If you watch the videos I made on the elements, you'll remember that water is magnetic where fire is electric. The dominant quality of water is cold, and the dominant quality of fire is heat. Looking at this, when you apply heat to water, you are removing its magnetic ability to some extent. If you are to keep the water cool or cold, you will maintain its magnetic property, and by setting your intention for the bath to that of a spiritual cleansing rite, you are setting it apart from a mundane bath. When you submerge yourself in the cool water, set your focus on removing any accumulated filth from your soul, cleansing yourself of any illness, discontentment, or failure, and that you are transferring all of it into the water. Now, for those who experimented with the natron recipe I gave in the video on water, this will be a time to utilize that. But now let's move on to the second part of this video. How can you start building upon your magical practices? The first thing anyone should do if they desire to practice any form of magic is to balance themselves in all aspects of their lives, whether it be physical, mental, or spiritual. Now, when it comes to the physical body, this can be difficult as many of us in our world today live sedentary lifestyles and do not get the physical exercise our body requires as we run from one task to another. I know. Exercise. Who the hell's got time for that? This does not have to be extremely strenuous, and you do not have to have a gym membership to do this. You could simply do exercises utilizing your own body weight, begin a yoga routine, simple stretches, or a walk in the morning. However, aside from exercise, a proper diet is also crucial, but that is as far off as I'm going to go on this here, as there are plenty of other channels that could help you with this, and that is not the focus of this video or channel. Now, I was also recently asked how one could use the elements to make changes within themselves. So I will do my best to answer that here in a way that is easily understood. My answer to this question is based from Franz Barden's book, Initiation into Hermetics, which I will post a link to in the description and highly recommend that anyone serious about magic have it on their bookshelf. So when you first start out, you need to take time to evaluate yourself and be brutally honest about it. Write out your characteristics on 2 different sheets of paper, one for the negative and the other for the positive. And do not rush this. Take your time. Even after you're finished, if you think of something else or realize something you missed, go back to it and add it. Once you've gotten this going, determine which element the characteristics belong to. For example, anger to fire, boastfulness to air, cold-hearted to water, and laziness to earth. Obviously, those are intended to be negative. Now, once you've spent time in contemplation on this, and you have your list of negative characteristics and your decision to change them is made, determine what the opposite characteristic is for the one you wish to change. For example, you find yourself to be quick-tempered or angry, and you want to change this. So the first exercise, and most simple, would be to utilize autosuggestion upon your subconscious mind. So when you're lying in bed on the verge of sleep, you would repeat a phrase within the present tense to impress upon your subconscious mind the change you desire. For example, you wish to not be so angry, you may repeat, "I am at peace." The second exercise would be to spend time in meditation upon the opposite quality which you want to possess. While doing so, set your intention to your breath, and on every breath in, you take in the characteristic you desire, while on every breath out, you expel the characteristic you desire to rid yourself of. Remember that energy follows thought. And now the third and last exercise I'm going to share here is commonly referred to as the IOB, which stands for Identify, Objectify, and Banish. This can be difficult when starting out, but as you begin to notice a characteristic flaring up, identify it and recognize it as what it is. Set it in your mind as an object, picture it as something. Then finally, you banish it and move on. Once it is banished, you have to release it from your thoughts. I know many modern ceremonial magicians will use a banishing pentagram within the air, which is just fine. I like to repeat the phrase "apopantos kakodemonos," which is often translated as "away every evil spirit." Jason Miller's book Real Sorcery, or the original The Sorcerer's Secrets, has a good elemental meditation exercise which I'm not going to disclose here, but I'll link to his books in the description. However, I do want to give one more practical application that you can incorporate into your practice. Oftentimes, the first thing needed for someone beginning a magical practice is to become grounded. So you can help accomplish this through the fourfold breath while in meditation. This is done by performing a slow count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 while breathing in, holding for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, and holding again for 1, 2, 3, 4, and you repeat. You may feel panicked initially, but push through it. But for now, I'm going to end this video here, and for those of you who watched till the end, thank you. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you know when new videos are uploaded, and share this video as it really helps the channel to grow. Now till the end of November, the shop has most items for 20% off, so if you want to support the channel, you can do so while getting yourself something in return. If anyone has any questions that they would like answered within a video, please drop it in the comments below or join the Discord community and let me know there. If we get enough questions, I will start making videos specifically to answer any questions. Also, when we reach 500 subscribers, I will be doing another giveaway. You can also download the Echoes from the Temple Android app from Google Play, or the link in the description. You can also find it at echoesfromthetemple.com. So until the next video, may the gods bless you.